Lockdown. Lockdown is a transformer who was a mercenary working to, get paid. Who first appeared in Transformers Animated. But he has a backstory in Transformers Animated. Lockdown when he was young trained under the Transformers master Yokotron. But after Lockdown brought Shane to Yokotron's dojo, he was pretty much, exiled from the dojo. Which then led to Lockdown to kill Master Yokotron, who at the time was training the young Prowl because, Prowl didn't really want to get involved with the war. But we'll touch on him later, in a future. After that, Lockdown would go to pretty much, become a mercenary and do jobs for the Decepticons. Because, he was a con man, kind of like Swindle. Except after he had captured his, targets, he would take some of their limbs and, he made him a part to himself. I mean, look at Lockdown. He has a hook, a hand that's completely the wrong color, and a feet that looks completely the wrong color. Like, what? We have a concept art of Lockdown, which further shows us. I mean, look at it. He literally has 2 arms. What the hell? Correction, 2 more tiny arms, which is weird. And during the war, Lockdown played a crucial role in the war. Well, because during the war, he acted as a con man / mercenary for the Decepticons, capturing Autobots and, you get the. In fact, he literally captured a young Ratchet who was carrying an injured RC at the time. And when they both got captured by Lockdown, Lockdown stole something from Ratchet, which was a paralyzer. I don't have an image of the paralyzer, so fortunately I can't show it. But all I need to tell you about the paralyzer is that it can render someone, you paralyzed. I mean, what do you expect? It's literally in the name. Except something about the paralyzer is that it doesn't work on the person who creates the, paralyzer, which means it doesn't work on Ratchet. And Lockdown was ordered to capture Ratchet and RC because if you don't know, RC had codes that was able to unlock Omega Supreme, a freaking Titan, which was more powerful than Ultra Magnus himself. Well, I don't know if strong as Ultra Magnus, but you get the point. He's super strong. And if Omega Sphere was to fall under the hands of the Decepticons, it would be, bad because then the Decepticons would have won the war. If it wasn't for Ratchet, who was just a paralyzer to completely wipe RC's mind. Yes, very tragic. But years later, in the timeline of the Transformers animated Season 1, Episode 5, Thrill of the Hunt, Ratchet and Lockdown meet once again. Except this time, Lockdown had captured Optimus Prime. Well, anime Optimus Prime, just so you know. Only this time, Ratchet was able to beat Lockdown and get his old paralyzer back from Lockdown, cause Lockdown took it and was also able to save Optimus. And what happened to Lockdown after that? Well, he got paralyzed by Ratchet, but don't worry, he comes back later, I believe. So that was Lockdown in the Transformers animated universe. But does Lockdown appear anywhere else? Well, he does. Lockdown appears back in the This is not the right Lockdown. Wait, hold up. There we go. So pretty much, Lockdown, before he appeared in Revenge of the Fallen, he appeared in the Transformers Revenge of the Fallen toy line. Just like animated Lockdown, this version of Lockdown has a rivalry with Ratchet. Well, not the live action movie. Okay, this one, not the live action. Fun fact: this version of Lockdown can actually combine with an EMP generator that the Revenge of the Fallen Toyland Ratchet has, which is pretty cool. Homage to the animated. Then Lockdown appeared in the Transformers Drift comic book, the IDW comics. Yeah, it's kind of shocking he appeared in a comic other than the movie next. This is more or less one of the lesser known Lockdown, I'm pretty sure. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, cause I need to. We're not gonna talk at the Transformers Drift comics too much, cause I never read this comic, and also we're focusing on Lockdown, not Drift. So, Now, Lockdown appeared in the comic with his Revenge of the Fallen toy line look. Better expressed with this image right here. You can see it right there. Now, this version of Lockdown, along with a group of alien slavers who were his team, were trying to apprehend and capture the turn-coded Driv, who used to be known as Deadlock when he was a Decepticon, but then turned into an Autobot and goes by Driv. But then Lockdown got foiled and, well, he lost. That's all we have with the comics, but I should also add here, he lost because, with the combined forces of Drift and his allies, the Circle of Light. That's all we're gonna touch about the comics, cause we need to focus on the next, aka movie Lockdown, one of the most well-known Lockdown ever. It is what made Lockdown famous in the first place. Although Age of Extinction was not the best of Transformers movie, and let's be honest, it deserves to earn that title because we all know how that movie plays. Now, in appearance, Lockdown looks very different from every incarnation of Lockdown. I mean, look, he turned into a Lamborghini. I mean, what Transformers have turned into a Lamborghini before? I mean, technically sideways, and the animatic did turn to a Lamborghini. But let's not talk about sideways. Though a different look, Lockdown is still the same old Lockdown. He's still the mercenary bounty hunter everyone loves with his attitude. Sorry about that. He's still the same bounty hunter that he is in animated and the comics. So really, he's only different in looks. Personality-wise, he's still the same Lockdown we all know and love. Now, Lockdown was hired by the Transformers' mysterious alien creator, who is suspected to be Quintessa, to capture Optimus. And Lockdown allied himself with a CIA agent, Harold Attinger, that was the name, and the Autobot hunting government called Cemetery Wind. With the help of Cemetery Wind, he helped hunted every single Autobot that was left, and was successful in capturing Optimus Prime. But with the help of the last remaining Autobots, which were Bumblebee, Driv, Hound, and Crosshairs, they were able to free Optimus. And when Lockdown noticed that Optimus wasn't on the ship anymore, he quickly went up to Earth to try and beat Optimus. In the end, died, and also got kind of chopped in half. I mean, the center was chopped in half. He got stabbed to the chest, and then just Optimus, being brave as Optimus Prime, slashed his head apart. So, yeah. Probably one of the things that makes this Lockdown unique from every other Lockdown is that not only does it have a different design, it actually has a very unique weapon, which was this phase blaster, which he was able to attract from his face, which was kind of a sniper in a way, but it was actually his face that was attached to it. So that's a pretty cool. Now probably one of the most famous, well, to me it is one of the famous Lockdowns of all is Lockdown in Transformers. He appeared in a form which was similar to the Revenge of the Fallen toy, but was also kind of similar to his animated appearance. A toy here, it can, it's not gonna fit. They did actually end up making making an Age of Extinction version, which I do not like at all. I prefer this version. This version Lockdown in the actual Q-Forms cartoon itself, he hung around Optimus Prime and Bumblebee a lot near a subway station, something, I don't know. And it talked about terrible video games. I'm not surprised if he talked about Rise of the Dark Spark. The most recent incarnation of Lockdown appeared in Transformers Cyberverse, one of my favorite series. He also appeared in other series such as Transformers Earth Wars and the Alliance Continuity via the Transformers Adventures toy. This version of Lockdown wasn't like any Lockdown that ever existed, which what makes me like this Lockdown a lot. This Lockdown hung around with Clobber. Well, let's be honest. Clobber was pretty much inspired by Lockdown. Just find a picture of Clobber and Lockdown together. Boom. Check the difference. But we're getting off track. This version of Lockdown is, I repeat, a low-ranking Decepticon. Yeah, you already know he's, not like any incarnation of Lockdown that ever. This version of Lockdown was literally the opposite of what every Lockdown was. He was a lower-key Decepticon. He was a very awkward one. You know, he was a silly con. He wasn't like the original Lockdown where he was like a super serious con man, a mercenary. No, this guy was just a regular Decepticon. Which, even though that might sound like degrading, I love this version of Lockdown. He's like one of my favorite versions of Transformers animated Lockdown was probably what started the saga of Lockdown. Cause let's be honest, this is probably one of the most well-known Transformers characters to ever exist. Wherever Lockdown takes a stand again, you all know he will still always be the mercenary he is, unless he becomes something of a low-ranking goon. Then, you know, it's still cool.